Hello again and welcome to our channel. Thank you for joining us. It's a really wet, windy afternoon here in our particular corner of the UK. And so we're in the polytunnel again and we're thinking about growing herbs. My wife and I are both keen cooks and we love to have a really fresh supply of tasty herbs to help us do our cooking. We've got a herb garden. Unfortunately, it's now past its best. It's been a little bit neglected and we need to really start a new herb garden. We've decided that instead of having a herb garden in a patch of our plot, we're actually going to put the herbs into a series of pots. We're going to have them just outside the kitchen window. Really convenient for when we need to harvest the herbs. So we're thinking then about our new herb patch. Now, how we're going to plant these herbs, we're going to plant some through seed to begin with. We're just going to have a look at the way in which we're going to be planting some herbs as seed. The first way that we're going to do this, we're going to plant into a large pot like this. There are some herbs, like for instance coriander, which we're going to be planting, that can actually be planted directly into a nice big pot like that, and that's where they're going to grow, mature and be harvested from. So our coriander then. We're simply going to sprinkle some coriander seeds into little depressions that we've made into this large pot. We're just trying to put one seed into each one of these little depressions. If more than one goes in, absolutely fine. It's a multi-purpose compost. It's been well watered. And we're just putting some seeds into the holes. Okay, I think that will be absolutely sufficient. So, our pot with a multi-purpose compost in, we've labelled it coriander, we've put some seeds in. We're now going to put a little layer of compost on the top. Just sieve compost with some perlite in. We're just going to firm that down. It needs to be watered. And this pot is going to be put in a greenhouse with some gentle heat. And before too long, hopefully, we'll see some germination. Some other herbs, here Basil and Chives, we're going to plant into smaller pots. We're actually going to take these into the house and put them in the windowsill in the kitchen to allow them to germinate. Okay, so let's move that out of the way and we'll do some chives to begin with. We are sprinkling some chive seed over the top of the multi-purpose compost. We'll do this fairly thinly. And now we're going to do the basil, and that one there. If I can get the basil seed to come out. The basil seed is not cooperating at the moment. Okay, it is now. We're just sprinkling some basil seed onto the compost. Should be absolutely fine. Again, we're going to put some of the sieved multi-purpose mixed with perlite on top. Just a thin covering, maybe 1/4 of an inch, something like that. And so the chives and the basil we will water, and we're going to take into the house and we're going to put onto a warm windowsill, probably in the kitchen, until they germinate. Two more types of herbs that we are going to sow are thyme and rosemary. We're going to put these into a propagator tray and they are then going to go into a propagator. So thyme to begin with. These are very small seeds. Wow. fine. Then the rosemary. Come on. That should be great. Little covering and multi-purpose on top. Okay, so that is going to be watered, and that's going to go into a propagator. And fairly sort of gentle sort of heat. So that's our seed sowing then. That and the other seed sowing that we're going to do will produce lots of lovely plants, but they're not going to mature, obviously. They're not going to be producing until quite later in the season. Now we're impatient. We want some herbs much earlier than that. So now we're going to move on to actually planting some herbs. Now what we've done is we've been to a local plant centre and we've actually purchased some herbs as well. We've got the same sort of herbs that we were talking about previously. Now we're going to put those into these pots. These pots, as I said, are going to go against the wall just outside the kitchen so that we can actually harvest and take into the kitchen as and when required. Before I do the planting, I'm just going to put my gloves on, otherwise my wife is going to tell me off. I always do what I'm told. Well, hopefully. And now we'll actually get ready. So, here we've got chives. So we start off putting the chives into our pot. They've been very well watered. Just going to plant those into there. Here we've got rosemary. And here we've got some sage. Now in this pot, it's a mixture of multi-purpose compost and grit to help the drainage. There have been some crocks put in the bottom as well to aid the drainage. There is some slow release fertiliser mixed in as well to give the herbs a good feed during the course of the year. Okay, so that's the first three planted then. The chives, the rosemary and the sage. Okay, so let's just put that down. We'll move on now to another one. Here we've got three more. So here we've got fennel. Let's put that one in. Oregano. Put that one in there. And over here, marjoram. Okay, that should be great for that pot. And now I'm going to go on to this one. Here we're going to put some mint. Now mint spreads a lot. It's very invasive. And so I don't know whether to put one or two into this pot. I actually will put both of these in, but you probably only need to put one in, I would have thought, because it spreads a great deal. Actually an excellent way of growing mint in a pot. Prevents it from spreading all over the garden. Okay, so those are two slightly different varieties of mint. Let's go on to another one. What have we got over here? Oh, parsley, of course. Parsley, and we've got some rosemary. Can't do without our parsley, can we? The parsley is very important. So let's put in our parsley. Now each of these pots that I'm planting up, initially it's going to stay in this polytunnel, in this unheated polytunnel, until eventually we can actually put it out against the wall of the kitchen. It's going to be in quite a sheltered spot though, so it can probably go out fairly early. Are the herbs that hopefully are going to be ready quite soon. We'll leave them in here to begin with, and then take them out, put them against the wall outside the kitchen, all ready for my wife to harvest, take in to do with her wonderful cooking whenever she wants. It's a little bit about our herbs and how we grow them. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you found that interesting and informative. Thank you. If there's anything that you particularly want us to deal with in our videos, please let us know. It'd be interesting to get feedback and some suggestions about the other videos, the other subjects that you would like us to deal with during the course of the year. We're going to produce 2 videos every single week, all the way up until Christmas. Please let us know what you would like us to look at. Thanks a lot.